If you have public health insurance in Germany, then this video is specifically good for you. Now, in 2025, there was a price increase of public health insurance, the premium. Now, before we all freak out, this is normal. It happens every year. However, this year, this increase has been all over the news. So what is up? The difference between this year and last year is that the price increase is significantly higher. This has left many wondering what to do. If you have been affected by this price increase, we have 3 potential solutions for you, so make sure to stick around. Hey, my name is Jen and I'm from Guatemala.
And mine is Yvonne and I'm German.
And together we're from simplegermany.com, where we create English content to empower internationals to settle into life in Germany more
smoothly.
Let's first give a little bit of context on how this whole thing of public health insurance works in Germany so you can make an educated decision.
Right. So first of all, health insurance in Germany is mandatory. That means anyone moving here and living here needs to have health insurance. You probably have yours already. The thing is that public health insurance is controlled and regulated by the government. And what do I mean by that? I mean the cover and the price are regulated. We will talk about the price in a little bit, but first let's talk about the cover so you are also understanding what might be differences between different insurers in Germany.
Super interesting to know is that if you compare the coverage of public health insurance, they overlap by 95%, meaning they pretty much provide the same thing. I'm going to read out loud because I cannot memorize all of it. The coverage includes things like access to general practitioners and specialists, hospital care, including necessary surgeries, medical care after accidents, prescription medication, which is subject to co-payment. Sometimes we pay like €5 or something for medication, or maybe a little bit more, depends on the medication. Yeah. Preventative services like vaccinations and screenings, as well as maternity care, including childbirth and postnatal care.
And a lot more. Those are just like the
basics.
The main, let's say, buckets. Now, however, there are 5% that are up to the discretion of the individual public health insurers. And this is where you can find little nuances of insurers that are more suited for families, more suited for individuals, and those that are maybe more into alternative medicine. Some, for example, include the coverage of dental cleanings, like professional cleanings, which is not an obligation to cover by the government. Jen, for example, has her professional tooth cleaning included with her AOK insurance. I used to take yoga classes that were registered as health classes that got subsidized by TK, by Techniker Krankenkasse, I think by 50 or even 70% at certain times. So again, if you are into that, maybe one provider is better for you than another.
Yes, just bear in mind that this extra coverage is 5% of their policy compared to the other 95%, which is the same for every health insurance provider. Now, talking about price. If it's regulated by the government, how can they increase the price so much? And that is because the price is composed of 3 main things.
And because the government actually also plays a big part in increasing the price, because technically all of the costs that arise in a year need to be covered by the co-payments of its residents and citizens, right? So if the cost rises incrementally, so need to rise our contributions so it can be on par.
Yes, that's correct. So to break and give more specifics about the price, we have the first bucket, which is the health insurance cost, which is the same across all public health insurance. If you compare, it's all the same rate.
And this rate is set by the government.
Second bucket is the long-term care insurance, which is also regulated by the government and is the same across the board. So every public health insurance provider has the same rate as well.
Correct. There is little differences between whether you're single or you have children, but there is no difference between the health insurers.
Yes. And now comes the third bucket, and that is the so-called provider-specific additional contribution. And this one is where public health insurance companies can for themselves decide how much or what's the rate that they want to charge for that. And at the time of recording, the lowest recorded rate is of 1.8%, and the highest recording rate is of 4% of your income. Now here comes the sauce of it all. So in the past years, the average rate has been 1.7% of a person's income. But in 2025, that got increased to 2.5%, which is a massive jump. And that's why everyone is like freaking out, why is it so expensive now?
Correct.
However, not every public health insurance increased this contribution rate that they have.
I'd say pretty much everyone this year.
Yeah, but not to 2.5%.
No, well, yeah. Or higher.
Or higher. So if you want to know if you've been affected by this price increase, you can find in the description box below a link to a Google Sheet that I prepared for you where you have the insurance name, the insurance provider, public health insurance provider, the tariff or the rate that they had for last year, and the increase or the tariff for 2025, and what's the difference and how much it increased. This way you can know how much you've been affected. And of course, this contribution, you would see it most in your payslip. That's where you will see the increase of the social contributions.
Correct. And just for transparency and to make this complete, of any of the social contributions, including health insurance and long-term care, as an employee, you pay 50% and your employer pays 50%. So also when we're talking about the increase, half of this is covered by you, the other half is covered by your employer.
That is correct. So that also means your employer also has to somehow figure out how to pay more for your public health insurance. So in conclusion, what we want to say is that public health insurance in Germany, 95% of the coverage of all of them is the same. The way they can increase the price is by this one bucket of how the price is composed, which has affected many policyholders. And you can compare and see if you've been affected or not by checking the Google Sheet that we prepared for you.
Right. Now, what price increase are we talking about? Let's put numbers to the table.
Yes.
And we know that TK, Technische Krankenkasse, is one of the popular public health insurers for internationals because they have a beautiful English service and also great cover beyond the 95%. So let's give an example of comparing TK with the BKK Firmus, which is the public health insurance that has the lowest additional contribution rate this year and hence is the cheapest in terms of price. They also have a great cover. And let's say in the example, we take someone that is earning 70,000 euros gross per year. And in this case, if one would switch from TK to the BKK Firmus public health insurance, one would save 201 euro and 72 cents in the year of 2025. So this is about the increase. We're talking around 200 euros a year in this example.
Which if I divide 200 by 12, we're talking about 16, 17 euros per month.
Correct.
So also, I think it depends on perspective. If you're earning 70,000, 17 euros a month, I mean, that's what you spend on beer maybe on a night out.
Yeah, but again, everyone needs to have the right information to make their own decision.
I agree.
And the saving could be exponentially higher depending on what health insurance you have, because TK historically has been also relatively cheap already.
That is true. Versus AOK, which was already a little bit more expensive, it might be even more expensive and the savings might be more.
Correct.
Okay, now that we have context of what's going on, the question is, what can you do? In our opinion, you have two options. Option number one is don't do anything. You're happy, you love your health insurance provider, it's fine, you're aware of the price increase, you weren't so affected, you don't really care about 200 savings per year, it's okay, move on. Option number two is to actually change insurance provider. And for that, there are three ways that you can go about this.
Right. So the first option to change is actually a new option that our trusted partner Feather Insurance has just created because of this severe increase compared to other years. And they have created a insurance switcher service that you can sign up to. And it pretty much offers you the chance to change insurance every year to the cheapest public health insurance provider. So you always have the insurance, you'll always pay the lowest price. Now, this is an amazing service. However, you should keep in mind that the cost of this service is that you are not guaranteed to always have a public insurance provider that has English language support. So if that is irrelevant to you, this could be a great option for you to always save some money on the side every month and year.
Yes, additional to that is that, of course, when you change insurance provider, you need to wait for the card to arrive. So there's always some sort of bureaucratic process that you need to wait.
And inform your employer.
And inform your employer. But if you don't mind doing that, it's a fantastic service. And this service is 100% free from Feather. So if you're interested, you can also check their Feather Insurance Switcher, public health insurance switcher in the description box below.
One small disclaimer, you can only switch public health insurance if you've been with them for 1 year or more.
That is correct. And if you've been with your health insurance, public health insurance for less than 1 year, then you need to wait for that contractual year to be over before you can change. Now, option two is that if English is super important to you, then you can compare, again, with Feather Insurance. They have a comparison table of public health insurance providers that support English speakers. And for that, you can compare all four. They have 4 options at the moment, and then see which one is the one that you like the most and maybe with the cheapest tariff, and you can go with that one. For example, TK is a super popular option, as you already mentioned, and I don't remember the name of the other ones, actually.
Yes, BAMA, AOK, and the DRK.
There you go. Thank you very much.
And if you're an employee and you're earning more than 73,800 euros gross per year in 2025, or you're self-employed, you always have the option to also switch to private health insurance. Now, this is an option that is often marketed as it's the cheaper, it's the better. And you can often save money with private health insurance, especially if you're young and healthy. However, we would never say just change to it blindly, because there's more aspects one needs to take into account about your life situation, your family setup, how long you are planning to stay in Germany, and other aspects. So if you would like to evaluate whether it's a good choice for you, there is 2 partners you should have a consultation with. That's Feather, of course, and also KL for Expats, who do nothing else but advise expats in English in Germany on which health insurance to choose and whether a switch makes sense. And I want to emphasize that they will not talk you into switching just because, let's say, they get a higher commission for it, but they will really evaluate what is the better option depending on your life situation.
Yes, and that is super cool. And just to also clarify, the reason why you were specific at saying that if you earn 73,800 in 2025 is because every year this number changes, right?
Correct. And if you earn less than that, you must be publicly health insured.
Yeah, you don't have the option to change to private health insurance.
Correct. You can find all the links of these calculators and partners in the description box below. And we hope that this video we gave you more knowledge and empowered you to take action or not, depending on what really suits you and your lifestyle. Until next time,
choose! The difference to this year from other years is that the price increase is significantly a lot.
Significantly a lot?
This has left many people... This has...
Never. You can do that, and then I can say the other 5%.
Okay, and I will read them because who has time to memorize that? Changes.